Alrighty, everyone. We had a crazy day in the stock market as we have some giant news with China stocks and how they are blasting to the upside. But we also have some very crazy and completely unexpected news between Amazon and AMC. So basically, we have a lot of crazy stuff to go over in today's video. At the end of the video, we also have a $2.1 million trade, which is pretty, I guess, notable as well. So make sure to stick around for that. But besides that, we're going to get right into today's episode. So Tom, lead us in.
Yeah, I will say, Mike, it was a pretty bad day to start off. A lot of stocks were selling down, especially Apple, Microsoft, and a lot of the key tech stocks in the market had some bad sell-offs. And look at Tesla today. Ever since they touched $200 last week, they've been rocketing back to the downside, hitting lows around 185.50 down there at the low today. So a lot of bad moves came, obviously, in the overall market, and a lot of stocks started to fall down. Now, AMC was a huge outlier, and I know people are going to love to hear about this. It was up 13%. Stick with us, guys. We're going to go over the China stuff, and then we'll get right into AMC in just a minute. But as you mentioned, Mike, the China stocks really had a fantastic day. BABA was up 14%. JD had a respective move on its own, up 4.45%. And it was just very nice to see these stocks running. Now, this news is a little bit crazy, but apparently BABA is going to be splitting up into 6 different units and explore IPOs, possibly on each one, apparently, if they raise the funding to go public, it says here in the article. So BABA obviously is a humongous company. Imagine like something like Amazon. They have a logistics part of their company. They have somebody that runs their cloud intelligence sector. They have the commerce group. So there's just a whole bunch of different parts of this company that are going to split off into different parts. Plus, it looks like Alibaba's founder, one of the founders, Jack Ma, actually returned, which is fantastic. He's actually been away for over a year, and it looks like he's coming home as Beijing is easing on some of their tech crackdown. So it was a great day for China stocks. And Mike, I know that you've been talking about BABA for a long time, and you even mentioned it a lot over the past couple weeks.
For sure. So what's so unique about China stocks is honestly they just do whatever they want. And sometimes that's really good and sometimes that's really bad. But in this market, it's really good because you can have, companies like Apple or Tesla or anything else have a lot of mixed momentum and kind of just lollygagging around, right? But then you could have companies like Alibaba or JD or some other China stock that can truly move with a lot of momentum in either direction. So that's when they're good, right? And that's what we're seeing right now. And what's especially interesting is that like when one China stock goes up, normally they all do. So like Tom has on the chart right here, Tencent, which is TCEHY. But you also have companies like Alibaba, you have Baidu, you have JD, you have PDD, and a bunch of other ones, right? And they are all moving up with a ton of momentum. And basically, these types of waves of moves come in waves, So right now, Tom, it's looking like we're at this, at least showing signs of starting another positive run up with these China stocks.
Yeah, we really are. And I think that one of the big things that I saw today that made me really become positive with some of these China stocks here in the short term isn't really because of maybe the news because of BABA splitting up, obviously. Like, that's obviously big news for BABA, of course. But to me, the biggest thing is that Jack Ma returned. And whenever I started reading through this article, they're talking about a lot of amazing things where like Ma's return is obviously just good for an overall recovery narrative. They're talking about some people in China have been talking about potentially like rolling back and helping some of the private sector out, obviously, over the past couple of years with COVID and everything like that. The private sector in China has been hit very hard. So it's good to see some of these officials becoming more positive, and it's good to see this guy return, apparently. It shows some positivities coming back, and like you said, these stocks are starting to go on some pretty significant uptrends.
Exactly. And a lot of people probably see the news with Alibaba on CNBC and they think like, why would a company do this? Why would they split into 6 parts? And a lot of it has to do with Well, one of the main reasons at least has to do with just like efficiency and being able to act quickly. As we all know, as you know, companies get bigger and bigger and bigger, there's just more tiers to the company, right? And some behemoths like Alibaba feel that they can work in a more efficient and just better way, by having, I guess you could say, less middle managers and just being able to act more quickly and just act how they did when they were in that true growth phase. So it's very interesting news. There's a lot that goes along with it. Keep in mind, it's not like a simple split by any means, and there's also a lot of unknowns that are that haven't been released just yet with this deal.
Yeah, of course. Like we're going to get a lot more information coming out over the next few weeks. So keep that on the radar and just keep all the China stocks, obviously, on the radar with everything going on with them right now. But Mike, the China stocks had a good day. AMC really surprised me in the middle of the day today. Ran up 13% today. Started getting some pretty good momentum back. And Mike, this is some of the best news I think I've ever seen with AMC since it's went crazy over the past couple years. Apparently, Amazon is exploring a potential deal here. Bezos looks like he sent out his investment advisors and top entertainment chiefs to explore acquisition plans for AMC. I cannot believe I'm hearing this. Wow, Mike. I mean, this could seriously make AMC explode.
Exactly. So, like, when would you think you would see Amazon and AMZ in like the same headline, right? Especially like this. So it's very interesting. Over the past couple of years, Amazon has been gaining more and more market share and power into like the streaming industry. As they basically acquired MGM the other year, and they got rights to. They basically bought the company that owns films like Rocky and James Bond and all that good stuff. But they're also just really focused on growing their own catalog with Amazon Prime Video, right? So I can see why there are some good things, some good potential things with this AMC deal. But as I looked further into it, there's also a lot of speculation as if a deal between Amazon and AMC would ever go down, given how much debt AMC has and just the situation overall. So again, in a somewhat similar way to like the China news, there's not a ton of information released just yet, but any news between Amazon and AMC can be game changing for AMC.
It definitely can. I'll tell you, I cannot wait to see what happens on Wall Street bets here over the next few days. This could end up getting really insane here. And talk about a short squeeze, Mike. Imagine if this starts popping up a ton off of this crazy news. Who knows? Something could end up triggering maybe over the next couple months. So keep it on the radar. It's an insane thing. Like you said, it's probably unlikely it goes through. Looks like Wedbush here, they ended up coming out and saying they don't think it's obviously a likely acquisition target. Like you said, a few other analysts are probably speculating against this happening as well. I would probably say it's unlikely with AMC just being so much in debt like they are. But then again, Amazon's such a big company, they could probably easily make up for that. So I don't know. It's a weird situation, Mike. I think that it's going to make AMC and some of these meme stocks be extremely, extremely interesting here over the next couple weeks. But man, AMC is going to be nuts. And hey, shout out to some of the people who have been following AMC over the past couple years. They've been, so I know some people have been holding on hard for a long time, and who knows, maybe this will finally be the next thing to push them back towards $8, maybe even 11, 12. And who knows, if we get lucky, we might even get back up to 15 if, a true short squeeze does happen.
We shall see. This news is so crazy and there's so many variables, but either way, definitely keep a close eye on the stock because you don't see news like this every week. That's for sure. But Tom, with crazy moves, normally also comes, an event to drive that. As we talked about with AMC and the China stocks, we had a couple earnings releases after the bell today with Micron, MU, and that's been going pretty well so far. And we also can't forget about Lululemon, ticker symbol LULU, which is also booming to the upside.
Wow, I'm surprised. Yeah, Lulu is doing fantastic here, up to 350 in after hours. Looking at that daily chart, Lulu's actually been bouncing off some pretty big supports around like 300 and 290 down here. So to see them finally moving up is amazing. This blue line represents where they are here in after hours on this daily chart. And they're actually starting to fill that big gap there. So I'm curious to see if they'll get a nice continuation up, but that's very nice news for some of the other retailers. Like I would think that this might even affect Nike and a couple other stocks. It looked like Nike is actually up a little bit right now in after hours. So keep your eyes on some of those other like apparel companies and stuff like that.
There we go. And then unfortunately for the rest of the week, the earnings schedule isn't all that, but feel free to screenshot this to have just in case. But with that being said, Tom, let's get into some setups for tomorrow. One stock that I've been watching pretty closely is FXI. This is basically a China ETF where, if you buy this, it's basically just a bunch of China stocks all in one ticker. So given the recent news and just given the price action, I definitely have it on watch the upside, not only for tomorrow, but also just for like the rest of the week and even, throughout next week.
Yeah, I will say on the daily chart here, this is looking pretty awesome. And I love this recent break around $29.30. If we start to break above $29.50 and even $30 over the next couple of weeks, I think it'll start to look even better. But these China stocks have a lot of momentum, Mike. I will definitely keep it on the radar. What's pretty crazy is that both of my plays yesterday, Mike, were on CCJ and Boeing. And again, today, I'm actually going with those again. So yesterday, I called out CCJ above 24.75. They had a humongous push to the upside today, ran all the way up to 25.30. That was a fantastic opportunity. And if they start to break out tomorrow up above 25.45, I'm going to go ahead and watch for even more calls and a nice continuation. Those energy plays and stuff with commodities was going insane today.
All right, good stuff. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is Netflix, but this is actually to the downside. So Netflix has been a little bit weak over the past couple days, but very strong over the past couple weeks and months. If it breaks below like this 320 area, I can definitely see it falling lower. Like I said, it has been pretty overextended to the upside.
It really has. I feel like a lot of these big tech stocks are starting to fall down, whether it's Netflix or AMD or Nvidia. I mean, all these big tech stocks seem like they're finally starting to turn over a little bit. I will say the end of day move on SPY worried me a little bit back to the upside. It was actually pretty strong. And in after hours, I guess with Lulu and Micron doing good so far, it has nowhere to go but up right now. I will say I've been looking at a lot of stocks down, but again, like I said, I'm going with Boeing, which was again a fantastic play from yesterday above 201.50, had an amazing breakout this morning, and that was honestly an amazing day trade. Shout out to all the people who profited off this one. I know a lot of people, or a few people I should say, were talking about it in the Discord, so shout out to you guys. But if Boeing breaks out above 206 to 206.15 tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and look at another continuation. And especially with the SPY doing pretty well in after hours, it might continue up. I will say, though, Boeing doesn't really follow the SPY, which makes me like it even more.
Good stuff. And just as a quick reminder, if you guys are not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe. When you do, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. But Tom, it is now time for the momentum plays. With the first one, we have CCL to the upside.
Yeah, CCL is consolidating here quite a bit today. Go ahead and make them break out above $9.40, which is a pretty big intraday resistance.
All right, with the next one, we have NIO, also to the upside.
A nice China play. I love it. Go ahead and make them break out above $9.27.
And with the last one, we have Meta, and this is to the downside.
META. I cannot say anything better about Meta, Mike. This was one of my free day trades in the Discord today. Really fell down this morning. I think if we fall back under $200 even tomorrow, it'll have another nice intraday push down.
Sounds good. So you guys heard Tom. We have that downside level for Meta for a day trade down tomorrow. And then we have the upside levels with NIO and CCL. So keep them close on watch for potential day trades to the upside. But it is now time for the big money trade of the day. This one's a little bit unusual. So we had $2.14 million go into the RIO call option. So Rio, essentially this company is a metals/mining company. And a lot of times these types of stocks do whatever they want. Looking at this setup overall, like I said, $2.14 million is betting that this stock will rise. To be honest, though, like the stock right now is at like $66, but the call strike price isn't, until $72.50. So it's a little bit far out of the money, which is a risk with this setup. To me, this setup's like high risk, high reward. It has some time, but it's definitely a little bit different than most setups.
Yeah, I will say that strike being very high up there worries me a little bit, almost like they might be shorting it. But at the same time, I mean, we're starting to see metals pop up, not just Rio, but even like GDX, gold miners are running up. We have CCJ with uranium moving, ZOM's moving up. It just seems like all the commodities seem like they're starting to run up a little bit. I know Rio might not be necessarily specifically into gold, but looking at them right now, it seems like they're kind of following some of these other metals up. So I'm definitely going to be watching it to the upside, and I'll even be watching some other miners to the upside as well.
There we go. Yeah, so it's very interesting. It's definitely unusual, and just keep it on watch over the next couple weeks or so. But with that being said, Tom, I'm pretty excited for tomorrow. We have that crazy news with AMC stock. We have the China stocks blasting in a major way. We have some of the tech stocks rolling over. So I think we're definitely going to have a very exciting day. If you have any final thoughts or anything else you're watching.
Yeah, I will say just some of the momentum plays today are insane. So if you guys missed some of those, go back and rewatch them. They are fantastic. I think that we're starting to see some awesome price action coming into the market, even though it's to the downside. Like look at AMD this morning. Fantastic moves here. Tesla had an amazing move down, bounced right off support and ran right back up. There was opportunities, honestly, in both directions on a lot of these stocks here. So keep your eyes on a lot of these stocks. Join up on the Discord. We're talking about stocks in there all day long, and it's a great way to connect with other traders as well.
You know it. That link for the Discord will be the first link in the description in the comments down below. It's completely free, and like Tom said, you can connect with a bunch of other great people and traders. Last but not least, we want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, King Isaac in the StockedUp Discord. You've been in the chat for over a year now, and you've been especially active over the past week. So definitely make sure to keep it up, and huge shout out to you. Besides that, we're pumped for tomorrow, and let's have an amazing end to the week.